So we want to introduce our mentor as he shares with us um, on the topic currency. So please join me with all gladness as we make welcome our mentor, Mr. Patrick Uduma, as he shares with us the whole essence of the word currency. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, moderator. Thank you, everybody that's connected. Thank you, Dr. Ngozi. Thank you, Yemisi. Thank you, Chukwemeka. Thank you, Zeno. And thank you, everybody. Thank you, Bukal, the people that I can't see. I hope we're keeping safe and getting ready for a new shift. I'm super excited to be in this platform. I'm going to be a little bit emotional because it's always people might want to say they are successful in what they are doing, but I would like to come from a point of from a point of failure, if there's anything like that. Noble, thank you for coming in. Frankly, I just want to share experience, not notebook. My excitement is that we have young people who have capability, who have strong, who have vision to be planted into their new world. And it's important that we begin to encourage ourselves and to stay up our mind. Frankly, I've come a long way, and by the grace of God, I run more than 3 establishments, and I found out I've been successful in what I do, what I call successful. I've come a long way, and like I said, I came from a mud and I headed to the marbles. I'm not there in the marbles, but I'm in between really marbles, some ceramics and marbles. As I want you to take this not just from a theoretical thing, or because we want to show expertise, no, but this is a concern because I want everybody in this platform to be able to surpass what I've done, irrespective that I was coming from nothingness, to where we are currently. My name is Patrick Uduma. I'm excited. I'll talk about currency because it's important that we understand that there are rules. There are rules that take you to where you're going. And if you understand those rules, trust me, it becomes like a shortcut. And most people think that I have a shortcut. The shortcut I have is nothing but compliance, understanding the currency. And I've developed about 10 concepts that I want us to look at this evening, and I'll take them one by one. And I will explain to them from not from the theoretical point of view, from experiential knowledge. And if you can get these 10 points, even if you can apply 5 of them, trust me, your life will change. Whether you are still a worker, whether you're still employed, whether you're running your own business, whether you intend to start, this is universal. It's going to be something that at any point in time, whether you are in Lagos, whether you are in South Africa, whether you are in London, anywhere you are, if you apply this 10 principle, trust me, it's tested by me, and I'm running it confidently. Recently, some of you recall that I was nominated as one of the first, the 100 CEOs, most innovative CEOs in Nigeria, carried by Guidance. I mean, these are not just because we want to talk about them, but just something to say, would have given us this kind of opportunity to be able to get to this far. And so one of the things I need to give as a preamble before I move into the 10 concepts is one of the things that you need to understand if you need to go far, whether as an entrepreneur or whether you're working. Number one of that thing that we need to do, and which is what will take us to this point, is nothing but people. People won't work for you because of money any longer. People are not going to work for you because, okay, the office is so crazy and all that. People are going to work for you because they have the essence to have meaning and purpose to their life. So time of money I said sometimes money is going to fail, and it's already failing because there's a lot of things that are going to take place of money. And so that's why it's important for us to understand what is currency that is different from money. Because money is a legal tender, it's a medium of exchange. And that exchange is you exchange value so that you can get a reward. But now it may not be necessarily money that comes to us, not necessarily cars that will come to us. There are other things that we need to, that will come to us as a result of our value. Then the other thing will be what I call process. Everybody around me know that I talk about process, and if you don't have process, you cannot measure what you're having, and you cannot have proper control around yourself. Every business that will succeed on the platform of process. And we'll talk about a lot of structures and all kinds of things as well too. But that's not where I'm going. And the last one is policy. If you don't have a policy, then you've not started business. Policy is the instrument that drive process, that drive the people, that integrate the equipment and environment and compliances. So if you don't have policies as an entrepreneur, you need to develop policies. And if you don't value your people and create relevance and make them important part of your organization, or you become a part of that organization, then you are not part of the cycle that causes things or that makes things to happen. Having laid this foundation, that's one of the things that helped us. I recall that last month we held a meeting with one of our top manufacturers, Nestle, and they have given us a process, and they have given us opportunity to move to another state. And the reason why they gave us that opportunity, because they keep looking at our people, they keep looking at our process, they keep looking for our policies driven over there. And as an international organization, whatever we have has fitted into their organization. And now they are using us as a sample to model over what they call the new concept of distributor. And so this is why I'm excited to talk about this. And that will step me into number one, what I call the currency of performance. The currency of performance. The currency of performance. I'll give you an example of what happened to me when I worked for a company called Shell. All of us may have over there. Currency of performance was what brought us into national limelight when I was working for another organization before I set up my own. Now, what happened in the currency of performance? We were 3 companies that were giving opportunity to provide a service. In fact, it wasn't even a service. It was just to provide our information, our profile, and the sequence of our job, what we have done. It took the other companies 2 months to provide that information. It took me 2 days to submit and follow up. And they waited for them for 1 month. It was at the expiration of 1 month that they finally, concluded the deal, and we put our name into that place. Ladies and gentlemen, this amazing opportunity took us to where we were from zero then to where we were doing business close to over $4 million, because we were the first company that were able to enhance that opportunity before the introduction of other people. Before those guys came back, we have already signed contract, and we were moving on. Why? It's a currency of performance. If you don't perform in the new era, trust me, you will not see any currency to buy to another person. I mean, I walk into a tailor shop today, and I look at all the clothes that they have there, and there were no tags, there was nothing. And he had given me 1 month to collect 1 cloth. And I mean, I was amazed. How was I going to come over there? And I started doing a mental calculation. I brought in my cloth. How much are you going to charge me? But yes, you want to be international. But meanwhile, just to perform one. Now they do not have people in place. They do not have process, and they do not have policies to govern them, and they do not measure, because performance will bring you into a place of measurement. I mean, I can count on when I moved into Exxon. It didn't take us, I was flying in from Abuja to Kaduna, and I got a call. And the gentleman called me and said, hey, do you have this particular thing? I so send it to me on WhatsApp, and I sent it to him. In the next few minutes, I just put in my laptop and I sent them the information, and I started feeding them. And when they gave us the opportunity, because it was emergency, in less than 1 day, we have supplied what they require because it was a critical item. And that brought us, we have never done business without organization. And in less than 1 year, we have done about $2.something million. Why? Because I consider performance much more. And this was rooted in what I call, it is expected in stewardship faithfulness. It's expected in stewardship faithfulness. Now, people think that, okay, when they give you, I mean, I contracted a carpenter and paid him 100% of money. Till today, he has not delivered that. He has lost that connection, and he has no performance. And without performance, cannot buy him anything around here. And if anybody asks me right now to recommend a carpenter, he cannot be recommended because he do not have a currency of performance. That brings me into the second currency, what I call relationship. Your business cannot succeed without relationship. A lot of us are doing business, we don't have a network. A lot of us are doing business, we do not have what they call conferences. A lot of us are not exposed to any, maybe association. You're an architect, you don't belong to Nigerian Institute. You don't even know anybody there. Or maybe a builder, whatever it is you are, there are people around there. Because relationship will bring you what they call reputation. Reputation is the action you put and the reference that is meant to you. One of the reasons why I am my comment, by the way, in what we do in Nigeria, if you count about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in what we do, we are there. I'm not talking about Port Harcourt, I'm talking about in Nigeria. If you go to the government cycle, if you go to DPR, if you go to NOSRA, if you go to all these other establishments, we will be about the number 5. How did it come? Relationship. Relationship cut across. Sometimes I give you a stance. When I started business, I got to a point where I could go to the client's house to help them out in the kitchen. It was that bad. But I have a target, because here they cannot trust you sometimes in the official arena. They can trust you outside the official arena, because that's where your faithfulness, that's where your personality can be viewed. And people say, oh, does it take all that? Yes, it does take all that, because relationship is key if you are going to survive even at this moment. So if you don't have the currency of relationship, that's why your reputation, that's why integrity comes in. I'm sharing this not from a theoretical background, from what has helped me. I mean, cut across our industry, it will be difficult to go to any company without mentioning our company, without mentioning me as a person, without nobody. It's difficult for them not to know me. I'm not talking about bragging. Bragging is a different thing. We're talking about your personal value that you have given to them. Let me share this example. When I started moving into a particular company, for a very long time, it was difficult to break into that company. And each time I go to that company, I can spend the whole day. And the guy will say, please come tomorrow. The next day, I will come. One day, I came out, I said, God, because there's what you need to understand, what I call the need factor. If you are looking for a particular gentleman or a woman that is proven difficult, that man, that woman has a need. If you can decode that need, you can create a strong relationship. And I came out that day, I told that guy, I told God, I said, I want a relationship with this guy. Show me his need. So one certain day I got into his office. He wanted a hall to do his wedding. and he was struggling to get a particular gold. And it was in my hand. I know the owner of that. It was my friend. I pick up call and call the guy. That brought us close. I took over the wedding ceremony. As simple as that, because this is what can bring you into fame. And I took that relationship to a higher level. Till today, that relationship, I'm still enjoying that. That's what they call the currency of relationship. I'm going to talk about the currency of display. Display is just significant. When I started my business, the first thing I did and understand about display, which is what they express yourself. That's it for me. That is express. Whether now we are in Instagram, now we are on the social media, you have your website. But let me tell you one of the things that can bring you into display. The first thing that brought us into display was when we started business. We have corporate gifts. And it was so unique and so well designed and articulated. Everyone, I can't forget, like 3 years after, I walk into an organization, they said, Patrick, do you see this stuff you gave to me? I'm still using it. Can I have more? And we were identified because I understand the power of display. That's expression, expressing your identity. I walk into an organization and there was something I wanted to do. The guy said, oh, Patrick, this does not speak excellence of you. Just look at what you gave to me as a gift. We need to understand display as a strong instrument. Don't hide your business. Don't be too humble not to showcase what you have. That's why I am always, at any point in time, it could just be a brand name. You know, I walk into a particular organization and I have our crested brand of my company. And when I stepped in here, that was what, you know, caught the attention of them. They said, oh, this could be such a quality company. Display yourself, display your company. We just opened our official headquarters in Port Harcourt. And we invited people across the industry, both bankers and all that. It was a testimony. I mean, it was well attended, it was well articulated. That was part of display. I'm going to talk about one thing that my generation need to know. That's the next one, currency of knowledge. You can't go too far with the limited knowledge you have. You can't go too far. Listen, I'm a political science student, but I moved into engineering, waste management and environmental service. I expanded my knowledge. I gave myself target. I could sleep overnight to decode information, download information, attend school. I mean, I could remember one day I had to go, I told myself, I'm done with this local thing. I went to university in the UK and we're exposed to all the, that was the first time I went to Manchester United, the stadium. And that alone expanded my knowledge and the vast knowledge. It is important, if you are going to move into your next level, you have what they call the currency of knowledge. I'm going to talk about this, the next one. And Nigerians like shortcuts. And Nigeria do not like to comply. It's what I call the currency of rules and compliance. One of the things that brought me into where we are is compliance. I've said it times to that number, you cannot go too far without rules. You cannot understand how the dynamics of taxation work if you want to grow a multinational company. Number one, compliance. You need to understand the regulatory compliance, starting from all the requirements that you need to get, even as a tailor. There are some regulatory compliance you need to get because, hey, you may think that you are doing a shortcut. When the government hits you, you will lose all that you have acquired. And for some of you who are doing business with multinational, you're already in the book of government. So you need to understand how taxation, NISDF, Industrial Training Fund, all these are all important for you to understand. Don't do your business without compliance. Don't do business without compliance. Entertainment company, whatever you are, you need to set up where at any point in time you are complying the regulatory requirement of your organization, requirement of the state, requirement of the nation, even requirement of the association, because some of you are supposed to be involved in your association that governs your trade. So compliance is key. You cannot do without this. I see people who run the organization without nothing, no form of compliance. You can't go too far. The next one is called the currency of unearthing. What is unearthing? Discovery. You know, one of the things that helped me is the currency of knowledge. When I go to any organization, part of what I try to do is to investigate their need. And I will try to coin out a solution to that need that will interface me. That is discovery. I recall that when we were starting up our business, now I went to my boss then when I was still in my former organization. I told myself I have discovered a particular product. And in the next 5 years, this is where we are going to anchor our business onto. My boss will never believe me. I said, I've unearthed, I've seen far where these companies will go to if we're able to unearth this business. I walk up to my boss, I said, okay, I want this, I want this. If you import these equipment and it's not used, I am ready to leave to work for this organization all my life, take my salary. Because I discovered the pattern and I've already seen where the companies were going. I've already seen where compliance and DPR are driving people. Because sometimes if you are tired and you are confused of where you are going, go to regulators. Regulators are ahead of us. Buy the regulatory compliance book. Check out where they are going, where they are driving their compliances. And if you key in, you can unearth things, you can discover things. Why is it that most organizations are discovering the potential of Nigeria? Because they have statistics, knowledge about what we're doing here. And I can tell you now, when we're talking about intelligence in the banking and all that, you need to sit down and ask yourself a question. Where are we going to be in the next 5 years? Then you discover and unearth potentials. I like this one. The currency of what I call the tomorrow's mind. Currency of the tomorrow's mind. It's called what we call strategic thinking. Strategic thinking is a deliberate, systematic thinking pattern that creates solution or helps you to see tomorrow, become relevant. Let's bring back about what happened to Mr. Biggs. We were all here when Mr. Biggs was the first organization that opened eateries. Where are they today? You know why? They lost tomorrow's mind. We talk about Kodak. We talk about, I took interest in Okada A. Okada A was an indigenous company that have fleet everywhere in Okada across Africa. They didn't see tomorrow. And today, Okada would have been such a colossal organization, would have dominated the space of Africa. But they didn't have tomorrow's mind. Ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow's mind will give you power. You become so relevant. One of the things I do, I try to see tomorrow and bring tomorrow to my work. When I started the distributing company, I had an idea. And one of the ideas I had was that I wanted to regionalize any company product that we're going to be representing. So we built a warehouse that seated around the city center, which is not too far from the airport. And you know, when they get into our organization, they just know that this is the right person to work with or the right organization to work with. So it's important for you to have tomorrow's mind to strategically always see tomorrow and connect tomorrow into your today's business so that you consistently remain relevant. Let me give you an instance. At some point in our organization's life, we couldn't get access to funding. And my currency of relationship with a UK company was already intact. I went to the company and I told them, if we had to continue to sell in Nigeria, you need to give us 6 months credit, because the bank will not afford to give us anything any longer. I have created that currency of relationship and trust and faithfulness. Now, do you understand? They gave us much more than 6 months we have demanded. Why? Because you need to bring tomorrow into your today. That will lead me to the next currency. It's called the currency of power and influence. Currency of power of influence. I use that power strongly, and not in a negative point, because when you force yourself into a system, you cannot sustain. Let me tell you what it means. Maybe you have a brother or a sister or a friend or a classmate. Now the guy is the procurement manager or the head of that organization. If you use him, you may have influence because he's there. But trust me, if that guy leaves that organization, if you don't have your currency of power or penetration, you cannot continue. I've used this strongly in strategic thinking. What is it? So I got into a company. I knew they had a problem. We didn't have a contract with them. And I knew that they were critically in need of a particular material. They didn't contact us. We heard about it. We shipped that material. My colleagues asked me, "You are crazy." I said, "Yes, I'm crazy, but don't worry about it. This is what I call the power of influence." I shipped those materials to them. They didn't pay till today, but we have made so much money that covered that thing that we have, because why? That's the power of relationship. That's the currency. I didn't even see it, but they told us that these guys have reputation. Let me tell you what happened. After 2 years, I was in my seat. The manager called me. He introduced us to a company from Italy and said, "Oh, we have considered you among 6 companies that have reputation." What was speaking for us? That was the power and that influence that we have introduced into that company. And today we're doing well in that organization. And they connected us to an organization outside the country. Why? Power of the currency of power and influence. I like this one. The next one is the power, the currency of transformative effect. Transformative effect. I mean, it's amazing when I look at where my organization is today. It's amazing what we did in a particular organization. We brought transformation. We were not loud, but listen, when we stepped in there, what was it? We were strong in compliance. And so we thought ahead about, we looked at a particular product that was giving them an issue. I came back to the office and redesigned a certain things. Called my colleagues and said, if we have to make a transformation effect, we need to bring a change in this organization that will shorten the process, that will bring down cost. And hey, we brought down the cost. It was difficult to move in some terrain, but I came back and I re-engineered this thing because I was fully informed. That's why performance will give you some insight so that you can unearth products. And once we were able to supply that and it was tested, it transformed the whole idea of that business within that. We became a reference point. You cannot do business the same way in and out. Maybe you're a teller, maybe you're a doctor. Maybe. Do you know that you can come into your organization and you change the seat? It can bring transformation. You can change one policy. Let me tell you what happened yesterday. We just wanted to bring some level of transformation. We did what we call August meeting. It's never happened in my organization. Everybody was mandated to bring food, and we sat down here. It was an amazing transformation. I don't know about you, but if you are going to stay in business in this 21st century and in the current dispensation, you need to consistently bring what they call the currency or transformative effect. It brings you recognition, it brings you award. This is the last one I'm going to talk about. Is what I call the currency of engagement and commitment. Engagement and commitment. Engagement and commitment. Most of Nigerian companies, they are not committed to what they set out to be. Well, we took a contract, and we realized that in the next 6 months, we are going to be running at loss. We discussed with the management. I said, okay, we did not foresee X, Y, Z, but we're committed to delivering this job because we already signed a contract. And it was very obvious that, yes, that, oh, come on, that this wasn't going to work. I can't forget, I was called to a management discussion, and there were over 14 guys, top guys, management guys. That was the first time I entered into such high-profile managers. And by the time I got in there, I told them, hey, guys, your project is more important than my profit. And so now that we will continue on this because of our reputation, let me tell you, the manager there instantly said, we have not seen this kind of company, instantly approved 20% to cushion the effect. Why? Because we were already engaged and we are committed to delivering that project. And you know what that means? You are in their good book. And so it's important. I just shared, I didn't talk about book. If I wanted to talk about book, I would talk about book, talk about references, talk about America. No, I want to talk about what had brought us thus so far. And listen, I'm not talking because I feel like maybe I have no. My organization, as of today, really, without missing work, we have already done with the pandemic, done over close to 2 billion in turnover. I'm not talking about profit. Maybe there's no profit really, but why? These are the 10 currencies that is driving our business to the optimal place. And I believe strongly for every one of us, if we can analyze these 10 points, if you can get it, take 5 of them, begin to implement into your organization. Trust me, you will never be where you are. Thank you very much. I will allow questions and feedback.
Wow, this is so amazing. This is so amazing. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. You know, one thing I love about Mr. Patrick, our mentor, when he shares his heart, when he shares any topic with an audience, he shares it with the whole of his heart. That's one, and he shares an experiential knowledge, not just what you see in any book. It's something he has touched, it's something he has handled, it's something he has experienced himself. All right, so we'll leave the floor open for questions. If you have a question, please can you signify by raise of a hand? Can you signify? Then I will unmute you to ask your question. So just signify by raising your hand. You have a question. Okay, Kevin Obi. Let's hear you, Kevin Obi.
Yes. Good evening.
Good evening.
I think I came quite late, but I want to ask a question. Please, in a situation where maybe you get a contract and you know finishing the contract you'll be running at a loss, what is your advice? Should I proceed, or should I inform the management that I'm not going to continue the execution of the project? Thank you.
Well, if you have signed a contract, that's what engagement. It's your obligation, because most contracts have they will tell you hold on to this contract for 2 years or 6 months. And if you have got that engagement, you have the commitment to finish that contract. But man, of course, we have a situation where you have to get back to the management and say, okay, XYZ was not predicted because, well, it wasn't our fault. Maybe, for instance, like the pandemic, and now there's an increase in XYZ. You will be able to make a case, document it well, depending on the companies as well too. There are companies that you have prospects. I mean, also depending on something that will not completely put you in bankruptcy. So if it's something that will eventually put you in bankruptcy, you need to consistently bring your facts, document it very well, bring your evidence, let it be apparent to everybody, yes, why they have to review that. But you have to be methodologically. You say, well, you're doing this out of this because this was unforeseen circumstance. But if it's something that will give you marginal loss, continue with that. Because sometimes not all the job that you do that you're going to make profit. So it's important, if you have already engaged and signed a contract, and for whatever reason that is beyond your control, go back. Not because you underquoted. In fact, if you underquoted, that's why they're going to blacklist you, because you signed a contract. You should have at least predict and look at forecast and plan ahead and put up some contingencies. But if for any reason, it could be calamity, it could be whatever it is, natural disaster, or maybe, like, for instance, there's a sharp increase in what's it called, currency, like maybe exchange. You need to document it. You need to prove and give them evidence, bring document, seek for management approval. If not, I mean, they will blacklist you. That's what I'm talking about, engagement and commitment.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Okay, Chukwemeka James, please, you can ask your question. Chukwemeka James, you can ask your question.
Okay, thank you very much, sir, for this opportunity. You talked about the need factor, that whenever you walk into an organization, you try to decipher what their need is. So I want to ask, does this format work in every organization? Like, what are the things you need to look out for to know what exactly the need of this organization is? Does it work for every organization?
Every organization needs to reduce their operational cost. Every organization needs to look at their processes to see how can we get a better process. So it is important, because that's what we're saying unearthing. Unearthing means that I smoke out problems. I mean, I could remember when one day I walked into a very reputable company and all that, and I just realized that their fire extinguishers were not properly placed. It will shock you, as small as that fire extinguisher. It took me to the manager, and I made a case to that. As an entrepreneur, one of the things that you are going to go with is the need mentality. I mean, I know that you are into garment. Have you ever walked into an organization and you sense this guy that needs some uniformity? Maybe like on Friday, you look at that, they are wearing t-shirt, and you now say, okay, I know you do this and you do this over there. I'm going to do this at this point. So you need to open your heart. That's actually what entrepreneurship is, finding solution, because your money is meeting need. The more need you can, the more problem you can solve, the more money you get. So have that mentality. It's a strong mentality. I walked into a tailoring shop today. It will shock you. I was almost putting a process for them because it was cluttered. And if you look at that, it was unaccountable. Why? Because I go on to unearth. And in fact, I had discovered that I could become a consultant to them. So every organization.
Awesome. All right, thank you, sir. We have another question on the chat. This is coming from Abigail Chinedu. Is there a particular time frame before one can quit from a business? How do I know if I am going through my learning phase and going in the wrong path? She's also rephrasing, is there a particular time frame before one can quit from a business? How do I know if I'm going through my learning phase? Okay, that's the same question. So I don't know if you got that.
Yeah, one of the things I need to tell our generation will be that one of the secrets that will enhance your performance is what I call the servanthood. In America, what do they call that? I can't remember the term they use it. You look at, if you check all the top guys over here, let me even start from the bankers in Nigeria. Have you noticed that the most successful bankers today, whether it's coming from Zenith Bank, whether it's coming from GTB, yeah, interim, whether it's coming from GTB, whether it's coming to Fidelity, they went to this school of servanthood. They went through the rank. Growing up, I never believed I was going to own a company. As far as I'm concerned, I was just okay with my company. I could fly everywhere. Every year they would give me ticket to overseas trip. I mean, I was everywhere. I was fine. But hey, I took that organization as my own. In fact, the name of that organization was named after me. And at the point when I left the organization, I had network, I have information, I got government parastatals that are involved in one thing or the other. I got a lot of contact, international and local. And you have enough knowledge, you have enough capacity. In fact, I got friends in the banks. So I understand these dynamics. I understand what it got to have policies. I understand how it got to be marketing. I understand how to accounting. I understand how it was very easy. And I just went off. Let me go a little bit. The Bible said that if you're not faithful in that, please another man. How will God give you your own? Sorry, I need to bring this in. What does that mean? You realize that within you, there's already a capacity that you have developed in another man that you can express. But if, for instance, you are handed over a business, and that business now maybe is an inheritance from your father, is an inheritance from your brother, or you were just bequeathed over there. The other thing you're going to do is to find expression to other organizations. I have people who do internship with me. And what they do is, okay, let me learn the dynamics of this, and I'm coaching them. So when you have capacity. In fact, it was easier for me to pay salary now because I was paying salary when I was working for that organization. I recall that we had about 6 months backlog, and I vowed that not under my watch. I was using my savings to pay that salary. I recall when I used my money to run the organization for 1 year. They returned my money after 1 year, about 1 year, 1 year and 8 months. The memo is there and the check was there. Some of these have already, that means you are building capacity to move on. I understand what it is to do funding. I understand what it's due to financial management. I understand what it is to returns to CSC. Because you have vast information, you have vast knowledge, and so you can't be rattled. So how to know is when you have developed capacity within an organization, and you know that yes, you have taken the step of a managing director or of the head of the organization. When you start playing in that role, that means you have built a capacity. Then again, entrepreneurship is about risk. Not everybody that have the capacity to take risk. I have taken a lot of risk, and hey, come on. And if you don't take risk, you can't make money. So once you have the capacity and emotional engagement to manage people, to manage equipment, to manage the bankers, to manage the processes, to manage compliance, what are you waiting for?
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, sir, for that. We have another question from St. Michael's. St. Michael's, can you please ask your question now?
All right, good evening, everybody, and
Good
good
evening.
evening, Mr. Patrick.
Good evening, St. Michael.
This is Mike Benjamin. Thank you very much for all you've been doing so far. Thank you for the class. It's quite impressive. I want you to talk more about timing. I want you to talk about the place of patience, staying power, because you gave us this whole 10 nuggets, and for some other persons, they might think all of this can be achievable overnight, which I believe you did not also. You talked about the principle of process, and processes takes time. So I want you to expatiate more on that.
Thank you, Michael. One of the things that people around me will know, I talk about process and I talk about time. And one of my core values is patience. People, I think I was talking on another forum and I told them that there was a time I left a job and I wrote a proposal to go to Lagos. I couldn't find 2,000 naira to take 9 bulbs. 9 bulbs was 800 naira. And I would take 200 naira to where I was going to do the presentation. After the presentation, I will come back with 9 bulbs, not bothering whether I will eat or nothing. I mean, this is how bad it was. But today, people want to be like me. It has taken me, my organization was established in 2010, but we started operation in 2012. So we have done 8 years already, and we have done significantly well. Now, you realize that this 8 years was not my 8 years. It was as a result of where I'm coming from. I've been in the banking industry. I'm moving temporarily to private organization, and I moved into private organization as well too. All these were learning points. And trust me, I will say this. It got so bad, I was living in my car, but I believe in myself. I used to just joke, I said, in GRA, that's where I used to park my car, my vehicle. Inside my vehicle, my clothes were there. I would go to BMS to drop it, and they would dry clean it. But hey, I believe in myself, and I keep believing in myself. So I believe in myself, I believe in my dream, and I believe in the people, and I believe in my God. Timing, you cannot determine timing now. My timing may be 5 years, my timing may be 10 years, but it is you. But any business without time cannot succeed. Because it requires time to form processes, to put policies, to put people, and to put structure. And that's why you don't need to compete with people. You can be inspired, but have your own time to develop yourself. I'm never in a hurry. But let me tell you, it's like when, part of how I know that I'm moving forward is when I'm looking for expansion. And I look at that expansion and I know that I'm not going to that expansion because I want more money, but I need to create more value. So timing differs. But one of the key things is that except you are full, you cannot come into abundance. So take your time, manage your process, and grow. If you don't grow organically, you are forcing your growth. And at some point, you may be able to crash down the company because you're not going very well. Look at it very well. Naturally, you cannot shift in from class 1 and go to class 6. You have to follow that process of class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4. And that's when you're organically growing and your root and your foundation are stronger. So it's important to you that for us to know that timing differs, but be patient on this your quest of value creation. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for these nuggets. We have a few minutes left, and I hope the questions will keep coming before we wrap up. Um, the essence of knowledge is for usage and not for storage. And I want to encourage everyone who participated in this class, if you can lift three things that Mr. Patrick has said from this class and start from now to implement at least three of these points. For me, when he talked about the currency of display, so that got so much to me, it hit me hard because sometimes I just hold back from displaying some of the things we are doing at our company. When he talked about display, don't hold it down, don't hold it back. Say what you're doing, put it out there and all that. That was one for me. And from this class, that's one of the things I will have to be doing. I have to utilize every of my social media handle. I have to push through that part. So I want to encourage us, if you can sit back and look at some of these powerful points that he mentioned and decide to implement these things, not just to hear them, because the essence of knowledge, it's for usage and not for storage. Once again, thank you so much, sir. You've been
Thank
a
you very
blessing.
much, my brother.
Thank you. So we have Ifi Ezudu. Yes, your hand is up. So can we have your question? Ifi, go ahead. Yeah, Ifi, you can go ahead. See your hands up. Just click on mute,
Okay.
Click on mute, yeah.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening,
I
then.
just would want to appreciate the speaker for this beautiful evening. I was invited by a colleague of mine. Among all the things that he said, one of the things that touched me most was that we shouldn't claim to be so humble not to advertise what we can do.
That touched me too.
I felt he was talking to me because I use myself as an example. I'm a pharmacist and I am a medical doctor. I am a weight loss expert, and at the same time, I'm a lifestyle coach. Okay, but I'm just saying these things for the first time. I have social media platform where I just probably just say normal things, but I've never taken time to even update. Even in my LinkedIn, I always feel like, oh, this is a lot. People might feel like she's trying to brag, like, oh, she's trying to show us that she's all of this. I am a first class student in all of this, and I've never been able to update that on my LinkedIn, even on my CV. I always feel that, oh, that would be proud. Yeah, like you're trying to be proud. You don't have to show all these things. But I'm not thinking that it's favoring me so much, because maybe, just maybe, someone out there who may have read the CV or who may have seen all of those on my social media platform may had wanted to, request for my services. So since I've acquired all of this, like the weight loss expert and lifestyle coach, I haven't even used it on a single person because I have not advertised it. So when he said that, it got to me because I think I'm a victim. I always feel that, oh, if you want to tell people about all of this, they might think like, oh, you're bragging. You just want them to know that you're all of this and all. So I'm very grateful to Dr. Chieme Ogunka, a colleague of mine, who invited me to this. Though I joined so late, but I'm glad I joined. I just want to thank the organizers of this program for making this possible. At least this is a take home for me, and I believe I'm going to work on it. Thank you so much.
Awesome. So that was not a question, that was a feedback. Thank you so much, Ifi Ezudo. Thank you so much. That point to hit me so hard. Display. Don't keep it, don't hold back. Go all out and show the world what you are doing. Okay, Chieme Ogunka, can we hear you? We have just 5 minutes left. Chieme Ogunka, yeah.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Patrick, for always allowing us to drink from your fountain of not only business wisdom, but life wisdom as well. So my question is, your major is political science, but right now you are distribution. So I would want you to throw more light on pivoting in terms of career, moving from your area of strength to something possibly that your major is not really a selling point anymore. So you need to pivot to an area that you feel just like you. So what's your advice for people who wants to shift career path?
Well, Doc, it's important when I talk about unearthing, all right? One of the things that unearthed me to where I am today is because I started a career when I left the bank, and I started a career from business development. And when I got in there and I found out in my space, I mean, there were people who were just looking for money. And I wanted to create a structure that can create a place where men and women will find meaning and purpose. And the only way I could find that place, in fact, it got so bad, in my organization, they were stealing money. And I was the only one who left out. It was amazing, really. And they said, what are you always looking for? I said, our company is indebted to the tune of $500 million. And that I'm looking for a solution to how I can reverse this trend. And that pushed me to marketing. And that pushed me out to understand product. I could go on and sit down with people and ask them questions. Why is this? Why is this? And of course, with the currency of a relationship, they start pointing me to this direction. This is where this business is going. This is where this business is going. Look at you, a doctor, for instance. There's nothing wrong with you going into marketing of a product. And it will shock you that you have a fleet to market. Just one product can take you to Canada, can take you all over the world. You become a strong distributor. Who said that you couldn't do that? But you see, that's why in entrepreneurship, one of the things you need to do is flexibility and have an open heart. And always seeking for value creation. And in that process, your eyes are opened. I mean, I was thinking about a lot of things during the pandemic. It's already revealed to some of us that we are sitting on multi-billion companies. But how are we going to tap into it? Something like intelligence, artificial intelligence. People are not taking advantage about it. This is how to move out from one place to another, creating solution to need an unsatisfied situation. Look at, I told you I went to a tailoring place and I said I want to be a consultant. I've never been consultant to tailors. So imagine if I said consulting about numerous tailors and I could organize a seminar for them. They will buy into me. And maybe from there we'll buy into like a cooperative where they can pull off on and put up their resources together and export their wares outside this country. So there's a whole lot if you open your heart.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Patrick. Okay, so just a short announcement for everyone who is here. Our next edition will be on the 10th of September, a month from now. I would want you to mark it in your calendar. And like the last person that gave a feedback, she said someone invited her today. So imagine if she was not invited, what would have happened? You know, she would have still been mute with all the things she got doing around her. So let's ensure we invite someone next month, 10th of September 2020. We'll keep you updated in our WhatsApp group. Galazi had a question. We'll just have 3 minutes. I think we can entertain him. Galazi, are you still here? Can you unmute your mic? Anthony's Galazi. Anthony, are you here with us? Anthony?
Yeah, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
All right. Yeah.
Yes, my name is Anthony Abraham. I joined in Yeah, I wanted to listen to what struck me was the aspect of performance. Of course, in our generation, we have Mr. Patrick said they were and he was able to do that under 2 days. One of us in our generation these days. We think seriously, it has you attack such an issue head on, get it sorted out within time frame, or even before the deadline. And in fact, it has a way of taking you to greater places because anyone you're dealing with will see you as a very serious person to deal with. So, thank you, Mr. Patrick, for that particular point, currency of performance.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, everyone. Mr. Daniel Calio just dropped the link to the WhatsApp group on the chat. So I would love us, those who are on the chat in the group, you can click the link and join. We'll draw the curtain here. So I invite Mr. Daniel Calio to end this conversation. So just put on the chat, just make a thank you wish to Mr. Patrick. He will see, just type thank you, probably put what you learned, what you're taking home, and what you'll be doing today. By next month, we'll be hearing from us what we learned, what we have done, so we know how much you have come. All right, Mr. Daniel.
Okay, everyone, good evening once more, and thank you for being in tune with today's meeting. I believe it was very impactful and you learned a lot from it. I dropped a link to the WhatsApp platform. Please click it and join up so you get relevant information concerning standards with Mr. Patrick. And also our next edition of this business class, masterclass, comes up on 10th of September. So inform others, invite, and also prepare for it. Please do not just learn and not put to use. Rather, use this knowledge and improve your life and impact to society. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a blessed day.
Thank you very much. God bless everybody. Thank you for being part of this.